Lenin. Okay, so 2023 के क्वेश्चंस हैं ये वाले सारे. Let us see. This is the first question in front of you. This is the first question in front of you. Let me just. I think streaming start हो गई है. Okay. So, the first question is, Paul J. Crutzen describes Anthropocene as a new world order, post-political 𝐷𝐷𝐿, decisive human impact upon Earth's environment and biosphere, aporia of grand narratives in the post-globalized world shaping human subjectivities. What is Anthropocene? What is Anthropocene? Okay, so the right answer for this would be 3. 3 right answer होगा हमारा. 3. Let us study about it. So, Paul J. Crutzen describes Anthropocene primarily as the decisive human impact upon Earth's environment and biosphere. He coined the term to signify the new geological epoch characterized by significant and lasting changes to the planet due to human activities such as industrialization, deforestation, climate change, etc. This concept emphasizes that humans have become a major geological force, or fundamentally they are altering the physical, chemical and biological system of the earth. So हम लोग हमारी human activities की वजह से earth को deteriorate कर रहे हैं. So 3 would be the right answer. Then, who has defined defamiliarization as an aesthetic technique implying the renewal of perception? Which of the following theorists has talked about defamiliarization? That you write things that are not exactly the same as ordinary things, but कुछ हटकर लिखना. That is defamiliarization. Victor Shklovsky, Roman Jakobson, Jacques Derrida, and Vladimir Prop. Vladimir Prop. What should be the right answer? So, who has talked about defamiliarization? So, defamiliarization is a term that is given by Victor Shklovsky. Victor Shklovsky. So, Victor Shklovsky, who was a prominent figure when it comes to Russian formalist movement, coined the term defamiliarization in his essay Art as Device, which is also known as art as technique. He argued that art functions to make familiar things strange, thereby renewing our perception and appreciation of the world around us. Shklovsky also defined defamiliarization as an aesthetic technique that makes familiar things so strange and so new to us that we remember them for a longer period of time, thus renewing our perception about them, making everyday objects and experiences look not ordinary but something that is worth recognizing and writing about. Then name the poet who has composed the following poems: A Hymn of God the Father, Elegy of Mistress Bulstrode, Hymn to God my God in my sickness, A Valediction of Weeping. These are the poems that are written by whom? Shakespeare? Is it Marlowe? Is it Donne or Ben Jonson? Who wrote the following works? John Donne, the father of metaphysical school, or you can say the founder or the proponent of metaphysical school of poetry. Is it Shakespeare? Is it Marlowe or Ben Jonson? So these are the works that are written by John Donne, sorry. So John Donne, 3 would be the right answer. The Hymn of God the Father is a poem that is expressing religious devotion towards God. Elegy on Mistress Bulstrode, this is a poem that is mourning the death of a woman. Then Hymn to God, my God, in my sickness, this is a poem reflecting on sickness and faith, again a theological work. Then a valediction of weeping, it's a very famous poem that is talking about parting of two lovers, and all of these works are written by John Donne. He is famous for using metaphysical conceits also. He is a metaphysical school of poet. Okay, then the next one, who among the following coined the term speculative fiction? Speculative fiction, Hugo, Robert, or is it Dan Bloom or John Stuart Mill? Who has coined the term? Is it Hugo Gernsback, Robert A. Heinlein, is it Dan Bloom or John Stuart Mill? So the term speculative fiction was coined by Robert. Robert is the one who is first time using the term. He coined it, and he first time used the term in 1941 and popularized it through 1947 essay called as On the Writing of Speculative Fiction. Now they can also ask you this work and the date, so you need to learn that as well. So on writing of speculative fiction, this is a work that came out in 1947. He popularized the 1941 concept speculative fiction in this, where he is distinguishing the traditional science fiction with more technological imaginative genres coming up, which is called as speculative fiction. So Robert becomes the right answer. Who is the author of the pandemic fiction The Last Man? The Last Man, that is a pandemic fiction. This is written by Mary Shelley, Dos Saramago, Ahmad Ali, or Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So it is Mary Shelley, that is the right answer. Matlab you have one as the right answer. Let us discuss. The author of the pandemic fiction, The Last Man, is Mary Shelley. This 1826 novel tells the story of a devastating plague which wipes most of the humanity in the 21st century. It is considered one of the earliest examples, a science fiction also. It talks about frailty of human civilization and explores the theme of mortality, loss, death, etc. उन सब के बारे में भी इसने बात करी है. Who composed the poem The Phoenix and the Turtle? So The Phoenix and the Turtle is a poem by William Shakespeare. This is a poem written by William Shakespeare. So the poem is an allegorical work that explores the themes of love, fidelity, featuring the mythical phoenix as well as the turtle dove as a symbol of idealized love. It was first published in 1601 as a part of Robert Chester's Love's Martyr. Then a valediction of the rights of human was written by Mary Wollstonecraft. Who wrote a valediction of the rights of man? A valediction of the rights of women अगर Mary Wollstonecraft ने लिखा है, तो who has written the work A Valediction of the Rights of Man? Who has written this work? Is it J.S. Mill, Thomas Paine, John Brain, or Amos Kingsley? So Thomas Paine is the right answer. So answer number 2 would be right. Thomas Paine. A valediction of the rights of man was written by Mary Wollstonecraft. Oh wait, I think the valediction of the rights of man. I read it wrong. Na? Ha, theek hai. So we have answer 2 that is right. A valediction of the rights of man was written by Mary Wollstonecraft, not Thomas Paine. It was published in 1790 as a response to Edmund Burke's reflection on the Revolution of France. Then It is Wollstonecraft's work that critiques Brooke's supports of monarchy as well as aristocracy, defending the principles of liberty and equality. Thomas Paine, on the other hand, has written a work called as Rights of Man or Rights of Man. ये work क्या है? Advocating for the democracy and the social reforms that are there. So that is why we have Thomas Paine as the right answer. 2. According to Lev Monovich, cultural analytics refers to what? According to Lev Monovich, cultural analytics refers to the study of culture to decipher the prevalent power relation in the society, the use of computational methods to examine the contemporary digital media, schizophrenia or the schizoanalysis of culture to locate the contestation among the multiple ideological formulations. Then you have archaeological approach to the study of power and knowledge. So it is Lev Monovich who has discussed this concept. Lev Monovich has discussed this concept, cultural analytics. Cultural analytics refers to the use of computational methods to examine contemporary digital media. ऐसे methods जिससे आप contemporary digital media को analyze करोगे. Right? So Monovich defines cultural analytics as the application of data science methods including computational analysis, visualization techniques to study the large scale cultural data. So आपके पास जो data है जो कि culturally driven है उसको कैसे analyze करोगे? That is cultural analytics. Okay. This approach emphasizes understanding and interpreting of cultural phenomena through a more quantitative manner rather than doing the research only in a qualitative manner. आप quantitative manner में भी कर सकते हो. And this distinguishes it from a very traditional approach of humanities that was only qualitative. So why humanities is only qualitative? हम उसमें stats use क्यों नहीं करते? We can also use it here. So Lev Monovich, who is a media theorist, defines cultural analytics as an application of computational and data that you can visualize in a more quantitative manner. These are the tools that we can use. The goal of schizoanalysis is to study schizophrenia in the light of neoliberal theories, to reassess the impact of materialist thought in human actions, to analyze the unconscious form of transcendentalist perspectives, to scrutinize the specific nature of liberal investments in the economic and political sphere. So the right answer would be 4 would be the right answer. So the goal of schizophrenia analysis or schizoanalysis, the goal of schizoanalysis is what? To scrutinize the specific nature of the investments in the economic and political sphere. Schizoanalysis is a concept that was given by whom? This is a concept that was given by 𝐾𝐫𝐬𝐧𝐥𝐵 and Felix Guattari in their work Anti-Oedipus 1972. That seeks to analyze the ways in which desire and liberal energy, आपका desire और आपकी libidinal energy या फिर libidinal investments operate within more socio-economic status. Socio-economic status पे कैसे वो propagate करती है, right? It challenges traditional psychoanalytic approaches by rejecting Oedipal framework and emphasizing the relationship between unconscious desires as well as societal structure. Schizoanalysis focuses on the flows or the disruptions of desire in systems of power and production, aiming to uncover how these investments shape human behavior and societal organizations. So schizoanalysis is a concept that was given in the work Anti-Oedipus 1972 by theorists like we have 𝐾𝐫𝐬𝐧𝐥 and Guattari. Hello, good afternoon. Which of the following is not correct about tribal narratives and the writers? Escaping the Land is written by Mamangdai. Then Kocharthi is written by Narayan. Amruta Santana is written by Pratibha Ray. The Motherland Being Deserted is written by 𝐃𝐫𝐢𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢. Which of the following is not correct? इनमें से कौन सा सही नहीं है? करेक्ट नहीं बताना, नॉट करेक्ट बताना है अबाउट ट्राइबल नरेटिव्स. So the correct answer would be 3. 3 would be the right answer. Let us see. So Antura is written by Pratibha Ray. Escaping the land is written by Mamangdai. This statement is correct. Mamangdai is indeed the, so ये statement wrong है. बाकी जो हमारा escaping the land है by Mamangdai, this statement is correct. Mamangdai is indeed the author of Escaping the Land, that was published in 2011. Then Kocharthi is written by Narayan. This statement is also correct. Narayan is recognized as the author of this work. He is a member of this tribe as well, and that is recognized in the Kerala region. So this is also correct. Then Amruta Santana was written by Gopinath Mohanty, who was a prolific उड़िया राइटर. तो इसीलिए ही थर्ड स्टेटमेंट रॉन्ग हो गई. वो गोपीनाथ मोहंती ने लिखा है वर्क, हु इज अ उड़िया राइटर. मोहंती was first the winner of the National Sahitya Academy Award also in 1955 for this novel. Then A Motherland Being Deserted is written by 𝐃𝐫𝐢𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢. This statement is also correct, and this also talks about, so he is an Adivasi writer, and it talks about Adivasi encounters, and of course this narratives revolve around them only. So इसीलिए ही this is the wrong statement here, not the correct one, because ये गोपीनाथ ने लिखा है, not प्रतिभा रे. Okay. Next, who among the following denounced the literary works as the works of devil? किसने कहा था कि literary works are the works of devil? F.R. Lewis, T.S. Eliot, Stephen Gosson, or is it William Ponsonby? Who among the following denounced literary works as the works of devil? Literary works devil के work हैं, ऐसा किसने बोला? So Stephen Gosson is the right answer to this statement. Stephen Gosson was an English writer. He was also known for his strong opposition to plays and other forms of entertainment, especially in the Elizabethan era. And he believed that these activities were immortal and they were gateway to sin. So, जितने भी आपके पास literary activities हैं, वो gateway to sin है. In his very famous pamphlet, The School of Abuse, 1979, he denounced the plays as the very school of abuse, technically all kinds of vices, by seeing it attacked. He also argued that plays encouraged profanity, plays encouraged idleness as well as loose behavior, and ultimately this becomes the work of devil. तो ये जितने भी works हैं, ये सारे क्या हैं, devils work बन जाते हैं. So Stephen Gosson becomes the right answer. He says that the literary works are nothing but taking you more close towards idleness, promiscuity, as well as you waste your time when you read these works. The modern philosophical tendency which stresses the perceiver's role in determining meaning is known as? Which modern philosophical tendency talks about meaning making and determination of meaning? Ontology, epistemology, phenomenology, or facticity? Which talks and which stresses on perceiver's role in determining the meaning? ऐसी कौन सी theory है या ऐसी कौन सी philosophy है जो ये बोलती है that perceiver जो read कर रहा है, he or she is more important as compared to what is intended? So phenomenology becomes the right answer. Phenomenology क्या होता है? Phenomenology is the philosophical movement that emphasizes on the study of conscious experiences and it also studies the person's perspective over a particular topic. It highlights how the perception as well as the interpretation of the world is shaped by us. So we shape the world, we interpret the world, we have experiences, beliefs and values that we have created. While the other options like ontology, that is the study of existence of human being, it deals with the questions about what exactly is reality, what constitutes reality and what exactly exists and क्या exist नहीं करता. Epistemology, this is the study of knowledge that is concerned with the nature and the scope of knowledge that can be acquired. Factity, that is referred to as givenness of the world and our situation within it. So what is our situation, हम उसके according perform करते हैं, right? So the answer would be 3, that is phenomenology. Who wrote the book Subculture, The Meaning of Style in 1979? Who wrote this work in 1979? Stephen Greenblatt, then Stuart Hall, Dick Hebdyke or Max Weber? Who wrote the book Subculture, The Meaning of Style? Again easy, so Dick Hebdyke would be the right answer. Dick Hebdyke has written this work called as Subculture, The Meaning of Style in 1979. This book talks about the counterculture, subcultures that are there, जो mainstream dominant culture से critique के अंदर बोलते हैं, right? They are critiquing that. So they resist the mainstream culture and express their own identities. It is a seminal work on culture studies. Which of the following statements are true in the context of Rudyard Kipling? Rudyard Kipling के context के अंदर इनमें से कौन सी statements true हैं? Okay, they are true. So Kipling was born on 30th December 1865 in Bombay, India. Kipling was awarded Nobel Prize in 1907. The Jungle Books consist of 4 essays of stories. Kipling originally used Shivalik Hills as the background of the Jungle Book. The Jungle Book was published in 1894. Okay, so the right answer would be 4. 4 would be the right answer. A, B and E. Kipling was born on 30th December 1865 in Bombay. So this is true. Kipling का birth होता है Bombay, now Mumbai, right? Kipling was awarded Nobel Prize in 1907. True. Kipling was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in 1907, becoming the first English language writer to receive the prestigious honor. Then we have the Jungle Book that consists of 4 collection of stories. This is false. The Jungle Book typically consists of a single work, not other consolidated stories. So the Jungle Book 1894 and the second Jungle Book 95, these are the works. And originally क्या उसका जो setting था वो शिवलिक hills था, background था. This is also false. While the exact inspiration for the setting is debatable, the stories are generally believed to be inspired by Kipling's experiences in the central India. The Jungle Book was published in 1984. So this is true. Jungle Book, in 1894, this is true. Jungle Book was first published in 1894. So the statements that are not right are these 2 statements. C and D galat hai. A, B and E are true. So that is why 4 would be the right answer. Okay, which among the following are true about Booker Prize? इनमें से कौन सी चीजें सही हैं Booker Prize के बारे में? The winner of the National Booker Prize 2023 is Tomb of Sand, written by Gitanjali Shri and translated by Daisy Rockwell. Each year, the prize is awarded to the best sustained work of fiction written in English. The International Booker Prize was instituted in 2002. The Booker Prize is awarded to the best sustained work of fiction written in English and published in UK and Ireland. The International Booker Prize was awarded for the finest single work of fiction translated into English from around the world? From around the world. What would be the right answer? Which of the following is not true बताना है about Booker Prize. इनमें से कौन सा सही नहीं है? So A and C statements are not true. Let us see. So the correct answer would be 2, A and C only. A statement is false. The winner of the International Booker Prize 2023 is not Tomb of Sand. The Tomb of Sand, written by Gitanjali Shri and translated by Daisy Will, won the International Booker Prize 2022. Okay, International Booker Prize मिला था उसे 2022 के अंदर. Then B statement is true. The Booker Prize is awarded to the best sustained work of fiction. This is true. C is again false. International Booker Prize was constituted in 2005, not 2002. Then D is also true. Booker Prize is awarded to the best sustained work of fiction in English that was published in UK and Ireland. And E is also true. The International Booker Prize is awarded to the finest single work that is translated in English from around the world. So which of the following is not true? C सही नहीं है और A भी सही नहीं है. The book गीतांजलि श्री ने जो लिखी है एंड ट्रांसलेट करी है डेजी रॉकवेल ने, उसको इंटरनेशनल बुकर प्राइज मिला है. ये स्टेटमेंट रॉन्ग है हमारी. ठीक है. Then which of the following definitions are wrong? इनमें से कौन सी definitions wrong है? Affective sounds involves the close approximation of two articulators. Stop involve closure of the articulators to obstruct the airstream. Raising of the front of the tongue to form a secondary articulation is called as velarization. A trill occurs when an articulator is held loosely fairly close to another articulator so that it seems into vibration. It sets into vibration. Then raising of the back of the tongue while making another articulation elsewhere is called as peltalization. Which of the following definitions are wrong? So C and E are incorrect definitions. Raising the front of the tongue to form the secondary articulation is called as velarization. Velarization is it basically involves raising the back of the tongue towards the velum, that is the soft palate that you have, okay, during the articulation of another sound. Then raising the back of the tongue making another articulation elsewhere is called as palatalization. Palatalization involves raising the front of the tongue towards the palate during articulation in other sounds. So these two, C and E, are wrong, while the other statements are absolutely correct. Okay, so which of the following is wrong? C and E, they are wrong. Okay, C and E are wrong, so 3 would be the right answer. Which of the following texts are not written by an Indian diaspora novelist? इनमें से कौन से text Indian diaspora novelist ने नहीं लिखे हैं? We have Darkness, Moth Smoke, Whereabouts, The Reluctant Fundamentalist, and Clear Light of Day. Clear Light of Day. Which of the following is not written? So 3 should be the right answer. B as well as D, they are not written by diasporic writers. Let us see. So Darkness is a work that is written by this Indian diasporic novelist called as V.S. Naipaul. Naipaul was born in Trinidad and is one of the most important writer. Moth Smoke मोहसिन हमीद का वर्क है, हु इज नॉट एन इंडियन डायस्पोरिक राइटर बट ही इज अ पाकिस्तानी राइटर, सो ऑफ कोर्स बी तो गलत हो गया. दिस टेक्स्ट डज नॉट ऑल्सो क्वालिफाई एज एन इंडियन डायस्पोरिक टेक्स्ट. Then whereabouts, that is written by Jhumpa Lahiri, definitely diasporic writer है. Jhumpa Lahiri is from Indian descent और ये cultural identity migration के बारे में ही लिखती है. Now settled in USA. The Reluctant Fundamentalist again is a work written by Mohsin Hamid. ये भी एक again पाकिस्तानी writer है, तो ये Indian writer नहीं है. And Anita Desai, who is another Indian diasporic writer, उन्होंने ये work लिखा है Clear Light of the Day. Right, that is focusing on Indian culture as well as identity. So we have which of the following are not included? The Reluctant Fundamentalist as well as the Moth Smoke. So B and D. 3 becomes the right answer. Which among the following are not true? Are not true about the defense of poesy by Philip Sidney? The text was published posthumously in 1595. It is also titled as an apology for poetry. Philip Sidney criticizes Geoffrey Chaucer's Troilus and Cressida and Spenser's The Shepherd's Calendar in this work. The text is the first major piece of literary criticism in English. The text defends Plato for his decision to ban the poets from an idle state as described in Republic. Which of the following is not true in the context of this piece of literary criticism written by Philip Sidney? Which of the following is not true? So, the text was published posthumously in 1595. This statement is true. It was also given the title An Apology for Poetry. This is also true. Philip Sidney critiques Geoffrey Chaucer's Troilus and Cressida as Spenser's Shepherd's Calendar is totally false. In fact, he praises Chaucer's Troilus and Cressida, right, as well as Edmund Spenser's The Shepherd's Calendar. That is highlighted in this point. This becomes the false statement. Then the text is the first major piece of literary criticism. This statement generally is considered as true. The text defends the text then defends Plato for his decision of banning the poets. This is false because he is the one who is arguing against Plato. He will say that Plato ने बोला कि जो poets हैं उनको banish कर दो because they make what? They make the heart very soft, and statesmen को poetry read नहीं करनी चाहिए because then they only think about emotions. So it is important to banish the poetry. This is what Plato said in Republic. But then Sidney is saying that poetry can never say any lie. Poetry never condemns anything. Poetry never lies anything because poetry never confirms anything. जब कुछ एकदम पक्का ही नहीं बोला है तो वो गलत कैसे बोल सकता है? And poetry is like a picture. Poetry is like one of the most beautiful picture that you will create, and that is artistic in itself. You cannot condemn the poets because they are important more than the philosophers and the historians as well. This is what he will say. So the answer would be C and E. Fourth would be the right answer. ठीक है, C and E. Which statement is not relevant about Biographia Literaria? तो Biographia Literaria के बारे में कौन सी statement सही नहीं है? Not relevant. The first volume of the text recounts the author's friendship with Robert Southey and William Blake. Another edition of the text was published later in 1847 with his daughter Sarah's appendix notes. It is the work by S.T. Coleridge in 2 volumes. In this work, Coleridge discusses the difference between fancy and imagination. In the first volume, Coleridge acknowledges his teaching and philosophers including Aristotle and Plato. Which of the following statements do you think are not relevant to Biographia Literaria, the piece of literary criticism written by whom? S.T. Coleridge. So, the statements that are not relevant are: statement 1, the first volume recounts about his friendship. Coleridge mentions his relationship with or his friendships with Southey as well as Wordsworth. The primarily focus of the first volume is on his philosophical ideas and not on his personal friendships. In the first volume, Coleridge acknowledges his teaching and philosophers, and he talks about philosophers like Aristotle and Plato. While Coleridge discusses philosophical influences, he is not going to talk about Plato and Aristotle. He talks about Kant. He talks about Schelling, right? Not philosophers like Aristotle and Plato. So A और E दोनों ही गलत हैं. बाकी सारी स्टेटमेंट सही है. इन अनदर एडिशन हम देखते हैं जो आता है 1847 में. इट इज गोइंग टू हैव सम नोट्स दैट आर रिटन बाय हिज डॉटर सारा. Then his work is in 2 volumes. This is also right, and it discusses differences between fancy and imagination. And imagination is further divided into 2 parts: the primary imagination and the secondary imagination. Right? Primary imagination is what the artist used to create something new, while the secondary imagination dissipates itself. It creates something new out of the primary imagination that we have. So it is even more tedious for anyone to get, while fancy is just glorifying words that you can use. So primary imagination से बहुत ज़्यादा elevated होती है secondary imagination that not everyone can have. Right? So this was the last question, and these were the questions from 2023. I hope this was clear to everyone. So this was the last class when we discussed PYQs related to English literature. I have discussed all the important PYQs related to English literature. Okay. With this, I'll wind up. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and bye bye. Keep on studying, enjoy, and all the best for your exam.